My name is Joe Crawfis. I'm the CEO of Kent Credit Union, and we have 3 locations in Portage County, Ohio. Kent is our main office, Ravenna and Streetsboro. And previous to the current setup we had T1 connections. Our main servers and everything are in the Kent location, and Ravenna and Streetsboro are considered branches, so they're connected through T1 lines back to the Kent office. And we had an in-house phone system that we maintained ourselves. There was a phone system in each branch that connected back to the Kent office, and so that's kind of how our previous network was set up until we made some of these recent upgrades. I first started working with Corporate Technologies Group back in 2005, and at that point we had 2 locations, just Kent and Ravenna, and they were adding in the 3rd Streetsboro office, and they decided to work with Corporate Technologies to figure out what phone system could coordinate those 3 branches and what was the best network design. And back in 2005, the T1 network was the best available for the cost that the credit union was willing to put forward. So, and then that also allowed them to outsource some of the management of the telephone and network systems to Corporate Technologies rather than handling it all internally at the credit union. So that's how we started working with Corporate Technologies. More recently, when we did the upgrade, I would have to say that Corporate Technologies handled all the contact with the phone company with Time Warner, transitioning over to fiber lines with Time Warner. You guys handled all the administration of that with Time Warner and with AT&T cutting over and everything. So that made that part very simple for us. And then when we switched from our own phone system over to the Megapath hosted system, Corporate Technologies handled most of the work on that, getting all the coordination with Megapath, coordinating the installations, bringing your people on site to help with getting all the phone extensions set up, doing the training of our staff. So really handled the whole project management end was handled by Corporate Technologies, so that took that off my plate. Well, from the financial end, it's actually less expensive than what we were paying before. When you include all the maintenance and everything that we would have had to pay on our old system to keep it going on a yearly basis, and with this hosted system, we don't own the actual system. It's hosted off-site. We don't do any maintenance on it. If there's a change to it, we can either make it ourselves through an internet portal, or we can call a support line that's available pretty much 24/7, and they'll make the changes for us. So we didn't have that level of support before. We had to do everything ourselves or call for help. And when we called our vendor, we'd get charged a fee, and they'd usually have to come on site, and it would be 1 or 2 day turnaround to get something done. So having it hosted is just better in so many different ways. And just from a disaster recovery standpoint, that was another huge benefit to us. We didn't have to have the system on site, so I could literally take my telephone home, plug it into my home internet, and I could make a call from there, and it would still be part of the credit union system. So that part I thought was a huge advantage that we didn't have before. Well, it's just nice to have someone like Corporate Technologies that can help manage those vendor relationships. With the Time Warner side, we've had really 0 problems. We've been on that fiber network for about 14, 15 months now, and I think it went down once when there was a power outage, which was obviously not anyone's fault. But the T1s we had before from AT&T would be down, it seemed like on a monthly basis, they'd be down at least for a few hours at a time. When it would rain or snow or anything out of the ordinary would happen, the T1s could go down, and the branch then would have no communications back to the servers at the main office. And with the Time Warner fiber, that just doesn't happen. It works all the time. And then we also have you helped us put in a redundant, the cable network connections at the branches too, which we haven't really had to use them, but they're there if we need them. So if the main Time Warner goes down, those cable modem connections would step in to keep the branch communicating back to the main office. So, well, before we really had no knowledge of any of that. I mean, we only knew if something wasn't working if people couldn't get on the internet or things were very slow for some reason. We didn't have any monitoring in place, to tell us how the network was performing or what our bandwidth usage was. So getting that in place was huge because we never had anything before that would tell us that information. We just until you heard from a user that something wasn't working, you didn't know that anything was wrong. Whereas with the monitoring now, we can see, like, I've even got alerts, overnight when we're not there. Of course, it was down for a little bit. Which, if we're not there, it's not the end of the world. But it's just kind of nice to know when things are up and down. And then we get a daily report that summarizes the last 24 hours of activity on the network. And, I get a report if the bandwidth usage gets over a certain limit. And then, of course, there's the way you can go in and look and see who the heavy users of the internet are and what computers are going to what websites and for how long they're on those websites, which has been good just to monitor. Sometimes employees will tell you they're really busy doing something, and you might see that, no, they're really on ESPN.com or something. So it's just nice to have that information that you can, check into those things when you need to and make sure that things are being done the way they're supposed to.